Recording started.
Hi everybody. Hopefully I got this figured out. Been having some problems with some technology, so let's try to hammer this out and see what we can do and make sure this is working. I'm also doing a recording of the entire desktop, entire screen, so hopefully I'll post the link on YouTube. You'll be able to see the entire presentation no matter what, because I'm going to try to show some clips of some basketball film because that's what I did. So let's get rolling. So this is my final presentation. Move to the next slide. A little bit about me. I'm a PE teacher at Thornton High School in Thornton, Colorado. I'm a varsity assistant coach for Monarch High School for the boys basketball program, and I'm an assistant track coach at Monarch as well, specialize in jumps, long jump, short jump. This is Monarch High School is where I did my practicum. I just coach there right now, and Monarch's in Louisville, Colorado, not Louisville. It's different here, Louisville, and it's part of Boulder Valley School District, and the enrollment's right around 1,600 kids. It's a state school, so it's a state-funded school. We're in the 5A classification, which is the highest classification in the state of Colorado, so we compete in the highest classification for sports. This is Ken Niven, this smiling face right here. He would not be happy if he saw this picture, but I got to give him a hard time. He's the head coach at Monarch High School. Been working there this is my 6th year for him. He's a retired PE teacher, so he still coaches though. Very accomplished coach. He's been coaching for over 30 years. He's top 10 in all-time wins in the state of Colorado, and he won 4 state titles actually at Alamosa High School back in the 80s and 90s. Here are my practicum goals. So first of all, I wanted to create a website for our basketball program. Basically get the word out and show that we are actually in 2014, and wanted to be able to communicate with the community and the parents and anybody that's involved with Monarch basketball. Second part of the practicum goals was to break down film from last year. Basically what I was looking at was to see which offense is most successful for us, and hopefully have some sort of assessment or an equation to, if we do this and we do this, then we win a game. And lastly, as I hope everybody would, to be able to use what you learn from this experience and use it for the future. So for me, it was does this equation work? How do we break down film? All these different things. So pretty in-depth. What I learned from the experiment. First of all, with the website, there is a ton of information on creating websites. If you Google create your own website, it is just insane. So be careful where you're going with that. When you actually create your website, you want to keep it pretty simple. A lot of people have a lot of different stuff on there, so just keep it simple, plain Jane, get to the point of what you need. I ended up using a host site called Weebly, and it's awesome. They do a great job. You can have paid sites, so like $50 a year or something, pretty cheap like that, and you're able to upload HD and all kinds of stuff. Or you can do a free site. We actually got a school discount for it, so it was only $20 for the whole year, which is unheard of. As far as breaking down the film, it's super time consuming. I want to say the bulk of my hours were spent actually breaking down film at home or at the school, and it takes a lot of time. Other things I learned were some very specific details on our offense, which we'll talk a little bit about. So we're going to dive into that offensive stuff. So last year, 2013-14, our overall offense looked pretty good. We had an overall record of 19-6. We lost 5 games by 5 points or less, so pretty close games. We averaged 56 points per game, and defensively we gave up 54 points per game. We averaged about 54 possessions, so each time we had the ball, we had it about 54 times per game. So that's a little more than a point per possession. So I was trying to look at how can we be more effective and efficient when we score. So if we were to add even just 0.1 points per possession, we would have bumped our total points up to over 60 per game, and we would have won those 5 games that we lost by 5 points. A lot of information, I know, so bear with me. Our actual offense. So I watched all 25 games that we did last year, and I broke down which offense was most productive. We run a bunch of different types of offenses, but I really want to look at the one that we ran the most and figure out how we can be more effective with that. So the offense that we run the most is called 4-out. The other offenses, when I tracked them, I just tracked, did we score, did we not? Not exactly how did we score out of it. 4-out, I specifically looked at how did we score out of this offense. So this is the breakdown, different stats. So basically, what percentage of do we run our offense? You can see that the 4-out, we run that 31% of the time, which is a high number. So 31% of all our possessions are 4-out from last year. It goes all the way down to our sets, which we run 0.7% of the time. The zone offenses, I clumped all together. So we have several different zone offenses, but I clumped them together, and we still only ran them 5% of the time. So clearly 4-out is our highest offense that we ran last year. This is what the offense looks like. So I'm not sure if you guys can see my arrow floating around in here or not, but I circled the guys on here. So our team is white. This is a home game. So 4-out basically runs that we have 4 guys around the 3-point line. And the screenshot that I took they're not in the exact spot that they usually are, but it's close. And then we have 1 high post. So basically we set a lot of screens. It's against a man-to-man. And it's a motion, so lots of screens, lots of movement. Good offense to run against most man-to-man defenses. Here's the breakdown. This is a screenshot of specifically from the Excel sheet that I use to track all the data. So 31% of our total possessions were 4-out. The way we teach our kids to score is if you drive baseline, if you get a backdoor cut, if you get the ball to the high post, or if a guard drives from the top all the way to the basket. We don't teach them that. That usually happens rarely, but when it does, it's not good. And you can tell from the stats that if a guard drives, we score 4% of the time. But if we go baseline from the wing, we score 14% of the time. So really all I was looking at was which one do we score the most out of, which one is the most efficient. From this, you can tell that we score the most out of the baseline drive because we score 14% of the time. So 14% of all our possessions we scored out of the baseline drive. 12% of all our possessions we scored out of the backdoor cut. So not only did I want to see which do we score the most out of, but which is the most efficient. So that past slide was we scored 14% of the time with our baseline drive, but that wasn't the most efficient way. Okay, we scored 75% of the time if we cut backdoor, which means that anytime we cut backdoor, if we had a shot go up, we were scoring 75% of the time. If we went baseline, we scored 51% of the time. So really what that comes down to is that if we go backdoor, we're going to score 75% of the time that we do that. We just didn't score as much off of it as what we did with the baseline drive. So we made more shots going backdoor than we did going baseline. And that makes sense if you think about it in basketball terms, because most of the time if you go backdoor, you're closer to the basket, you're shooting layups. Layup is the easiest shot in the game. That's what you're looking for, right? Right. So I'm going to show you some film clips. I hope this works. If it doesn't work, then you can watch the YouTube clip that I will attach with the PowerPoint when I email it out to everyone. So, and if you're watching it on the PowerPoint, or if you're watching it on YouTube, then you already know that because you found it. So, great job. So the first one we're going to look at is the baseline drive. Okay. So we're the team in black. I'm going to freeze it right here. So we're in our 4-out set, and we're going to go baseline. So this kid is going to catch the ball. This player, he's going to catch it, and he's going to drive baseline for a layup. Catch, go, baseline. He gets fouled. We go to the free throw line. So that's the baseline drive. That's what we looked at. Second one, this is the backdoor cut. So against the same team, we're in black again. we're going to be in our 4-out set. So here we are in our 4-out set. So we're going to move the ball around a little bit, and then eventually this kid, number 11, that just passed the ball previously, the point guard, he's going to end up going backdoor from the backside here. Going to pass. He's going to cut, backdoor. We're going to get a layup, uncontested. Okay. The best part about this is that what it does when we go backdoor is it creates more shots than what you would think. So this is also what I looked at, is how does going backdoor create more shots for our program? How do we score more points? How do we increase our points per possession to win those close games? So what's going to happen here? Player with the ball right here, number 22, he is going to end up going backdoor after the ball gets passed around. You'll see the defense all go with him, and it's going to create a shot for this player right at the top of the three-point line. All going to go hard with him because we've gone backdoor on him so much. So right here, these guys are all going to go with this cutter. 1, 2, 3, all went with the cutter. Gonna get a shot up top. That's what it creates. Now, part of what we're doing this year too is to be able to use this offense. Those first 3 clips are all from last year. This clip is from this year. This is just from last week. This is against Arapahoe. We're in black again, and so my goal was to, how can we use this to our advantage? How can we get more backdoor cuts to be able to score more points to increase our points per possession? So instead of our true backdoor and our 4-out, where the ball would come from the wing all the way down underneath, now we're starting to take the ball handler, the guy with the ball, and drive towards a person, and then the guy go backdoor. So what you're going to see right here is this guy, number 22, with the ball. He's going to drive towards the defender, and number 5 right here, he's going to end up going backdoor. He's going to get fouled. We're going to shoot free throws. So he's driving towards them, backdoor, free throws. Get you back in here. Presentation. Here we go. All right. So after all that, this is the equation I came up with. So basically, 30% of our possessions are 4-out. If we can run 30% of our possessions, which equals 17 possessions per game. If we have 17 possessions of 4-out, and we score 2 times going baseline and have 2 backdoor cuts, we win every time. Every single time. Now, this can be a bit of an anomaly because last year was a very good year. Okay, we'll talk more about that later. So discussion. Like I just said, last year could have been a little bit of an anomaly. So this is up for discussion of how these statistics actually work. So like I said, this is a very general statistical breakdown. There's obviously some more that needs to be included into it, but this is a very general statistical breakdown. Overall, we could add a little bit more statistics into it, but very general. Each game varies greatly on how the team defends us. Sometimes they can defend really well, sometimes they can defend really poorly. But in general, if we run 4-out man-to-man, if we do those 3 things where we have 17 possessions, 2 backdoors, 2 baselines, we're going to win. And obviously it depends on the talent of the team too. Some years we have more talent, some years we don't. Some years we play more talented teams, some years we don't. So it's a very general description. My accomplishments for this year. So obviously I created the website. There's the link. Check it out. I encourage you to do that. Being able to break down 25 games I feel is a pretty big accomplishment because that was a lot of time. And as you saw in that last clip, we are currently using what I learned during this season. We're able to incorporate more backdoor cuts to get more layups to score more points. And I created this equation for victory. So we've been looking at that through our first few games here. Right now we're 4-1 as a program. And part of that is because I'm really looking for that. How many possessions do we have of 4-out? how many are we going backdoor, how many are we getting layups from baseline, all those different things. So the benefits of doing this for me and for everyone else. So the website obviously brings a lot of communication with the community. The nice thing about Weebly is we're able to track stats, see how many people see the website, and it's huge. There's almost 400 people a week actually go to the website. With the film side, we're actually able to look at film proactively. I can look at film, I can break down what's happening, and I can see from this point on what exactly I want to look for. Before I could do that, but not as specific as what I have now with our 4-out offense. And obviously we have the equation for victory, so we know what we need to do to get a W. Some of the knowledges that I used from previous classes, leadership skills definitely, being able to communicate with other people through the website or through our players this year with showing them what we need to do to score more points. The strength and conditioning program that I designed last year through the strength and conditioning class is on the website. We loaded that. The kids are able to look at it. They're able to go through there. They can lift on their own at the rec center over the summer, so that's great. The sports psychology, the visual imagery is huge, and watching film is visual imagery. They're able to see what they're doing and learn from that. And the statistical breakdown from the stats class I took this summer, didn't dive too much into SPSS or anything like that, but just being able to think in that level of say, you know what, I'm going to look at some stats because I feel more comfortable with that now really helps. The leadership skills have covered many different classes, but they also, I feel like they help with every aspect of this throughout the entire knowledge from the previous classes. Lastly, my future plans. I want to continue to coach, I want to continue to get better. Hopefully within the next few years I'll be a head coach. And that's my ultimate goal, is to be a head coach and coach in the same building. So just building this experience and going through this program has been huge. Obviously, you have to continue to update the website, and if I go anywhere else, I'm going to have to create my own website or update the one that they have. And when you coach, especially basketball or football, you're always breaking down film. So being able to break that down now has been huge for me. So thank you all very much for watching. Best of luck with everyone, and I'm sure I'll see you guys when we go down in June to do our big presentation and get our diplomas. So thank you.
Recording stopped.